The Vampire's Haunted Castle. The letter was in shaky handwriting, and Obi knew immediately that something was wrong. His little tail stopped wagging as he read the letter from a nearby village. Obi got a lot of letters from people, because he was no ordinary dog. He was Obi, the fox-red Labrador, and he was known across the land for his magical powers of super speed and teleportation. If anyone could fix a problem, it was Obi. However, this latest caper might be a bit much, even for Obi. The letter was written in elegant but shaky handwriting, and the residents of the nearby village were pleading for Obi's help because they were being haunted by strange noises and eerie lights. The noises were coming from an ancient castle on the hill, and the villagers suspected the old legend of the vampire who once lived there might be true. Obi's ears pricked up when he read this. He was straining to hear the noises himself. He'd heard the tale of the vampire who lives in the castle on the hill. He thought it was just an old tale that people told to scare children. He never imagined it might be true. There was not a minute to lose. Obi used his super speed to run out the door, jump over fences, gallop through fields, over rivers, and get to the nearby village in a matter of minutes. And as he moved into the village, there it was, the castle on the hill. As Obi approached the castle, the air got colder, the sky darker, and he could see his own breath in front of him. Everything became dark and foreboding, which was scary because Obi didn't know what foreboding was. All he knew was, it didn't sound good. However, Obi remained determined. He had to help those villagers out. There were many obstacles in his way. As he entered the castle grounds, there was an enchanted forest surrounding the building. The trees seemed alive, twisting and turning to create confusing paths and illusions that baffled him. One of them looked like a giant bird, the other like a clown with a sad face. Obi used his super speed to race through the forest, but the trees moved around and tried to block his path. Obi knew he needed to think differently, so he used his teleportation powers, jumping to the top of the forest canopy where he could see the castle clearly and find a proper path through the forest. He howled with delight. He knew where to go. He used his super speed to run through the castle gate and inside. He'd done it. He was in. And oh boy, was it spooky. At that moment, he was challenged. Two ghostly knights were guarding the entrance to the main hall. The phantom knights were remnants of the vampire's old army, bound to protect the castle even after their death. They had peculiar, otherworldly swords and stood there staring, blocking Obi's path. Uh-oh, this doesn't look too good, he said to himself. But he had to go on. He had to help the villagers. The knights moved forward, wielding their swords and trying to attack Obi. Using his speed, Obi dodged their attacks, creating gusts of wind, and then disorientated the knights. Then, in a flash, he teleported behind them. Confused, the knights bumped into each other and with an incredible clang, fell to the floor. This was Obi's chance. He darted into the main hall before they could get back up. The castle's main hall was very grand. There were huge pictures on the walls, every one of them a vampire. Obi walked down the long red carpet in the centre of the hall, and at the end of it, there stood a shadowy figure. As Obi finally approached it, he came face to face with the Count Nocturne, a vampire with glowing red eyes. Obi was scared. Obi was very scared, but he had to do something for the villagers, except at that point, something unusual happened. "Hello! Very pleased to meet you," said Count Nocturne in a rather weak, sad voice. Obi had no idea how to react to this. He sat in front of the Count. He offered a paw and barked his best hello. "At last, someone has seen my signs and come to have dinner," said Count Nocturne. Aren't you going to try and eat me? Asked Obi. No, said the Count. The Count explained that he preferred company, and he just wanted friends, and that the only reason he was haunting the village was to get attention in the hope someone would come to the castle. Obi took a second. Here was this vampire that everyone was scared of, and all he wanted was friends? Obi looked around and said, "You know what this castle needs? A makeover." Obi used his super speed to change the scary castle into something more welcoming. The dark corners were transformed into cozy nooks, the big towers given fairy lights, and the pictures of vampires were replaced with pictures of landscapes. It was like one of those television shows when they take a place and turn it from looking a bit rubbish into looking like royalty live there. In a matter of seconds, because Obi was very fast, the whole castle was transformed into a welcoming place. And then, with his tail wagging, Obi offered the Count a paw of friendship. The Count sat with Obi and revealed that he had been lonely for centuries and only wanted to make friends. But his attempts have always frightened people away. Obi explained that the villagers were scared, but might be willing to befriend him if he invited them to his less scary, transformed castle. "Absolutely! I shall hold an open day," said Count Nocturne. Obi went and spread the news, and the next day there was a huge party at the castle. Where there were screams, there now was laughter. Where there was once ghostly noises, there was the sound of friends talking. Obi was just starting to enjoy himself when a carrier pigeon came in with another letter. There was trouble in a nearby village. Quietly, Obi slipped away knowing that his job at the castle was done. But there was now a new problem to solve. Thank you to Imogen for a fantastically spooky title, The Vampire's Haunted Castle. And also, thank you to Delilah for a brilliant idea with Obi the Fox Red Labrador. Super fast and can teleport. What more do you want in a lead character? Thank you, Delilah. If you have any other suggestions for names that we can use and ideas, use our StoryQuest character creator at funkidslive.com. Imogen, you are our story master this week with The Vampire's Haunted Castle. Can you remember what gave you that idea?
Because I was like at the time I thought about something quite spooky, and I thought vampires were quite spooky and haunted castles were quite spooky, and they work together quite well.
Because you've got scary vampires, scary things being haunted, and a scary castle. So, what's going to happen at this haunted castle?
The castle gets smashed, and then all the things like ghosts and vampires come out and haunts the world.
Here's the last thing to do. How loud can you say goodbye?
Goodbye!
Got an idea for a story? Tell us the title at funkidslive.com/storyquest and we could bring your story to life. For a new story each week, make sure you hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss a single episode.